This is the 2025 Buick Enclave. Is it the midsize luxury SUV surprise of 2025? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. This is the fully redesigned preferred trim level of the Enclave for 2025, and we're going to go over the particulars here at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more, check out the link in the description of the video. Definitely a very sporty looking front end. I like the lines. You've got the LED daytime running lights. You're going to have LED headlights, basically full LED lighting here. This is the new Tri-Shield logo that Buick came out with for the 2024 model year, making its debut here. We're going to have a combination of some gloss black and some chrome here. I think it's done very tastefully. Also a little bit of a matte black finish down here on the lower portion of the front end. This is going to be an all-wheel drive model. Tire and wheel setup, we're going to have 255 on our width, a 55 series sidewall, and these are 21-inch wheels. When it comes to your side view mirrors, you'll have everything you want here. Turn signal indicators are built in. They're heated, they're power adjustable, and let me do one thing right here. I'm going to push that button. You're also going to have the power folding function. That seems to cover every single box that I know a lot of you like to have checked off. What about your remote? There's what it looks like for 2025. Lock, unlock, remote start. You can open and close your power tailgate, and there is your panic button if you happen to need that. Passive entry on both doors, front and rear. So that's this button right here, the little chrome button. That means for you parents that maybe have kids that are big or small, or maybe adults, whatever it is, and you need to come to the back first and open all four doors, you can do that. A very nice look with the roof rails. Are going to have a silver finish on them, but we will have some more chrome here on the surround on the windows. I think that's tastefully done. That's really an elegant look. Depends on who you are, on what you think about that. Some people like it, some people don't. Body colored shark fin antenna, the rear roof spoiler. We will have the exposed rear window wiper. Probably not that big of a deal for most people. I don't think they look that hard at that kind of thing and say that should be tucked away inside of the rear roof spoiler, although I do like that look. We'll finish things off with the LED tail lights, a little bit of a mimicking look that compares with or matches up with what we saw on the front end. Under the hood is the 2.5 liter turbocharged four-cylinder. It makes 328 horsepower and 326 pounds-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. I know a lot of people have said, as far as the GMC Acadia, that this is the wrong engine. It should have a V6 in it, as it did previously, and I tend to agree with that. However, this seems to be maybe a little more fitting motor for this particular model with the Enclave. Let's take a look at our MPGs. I know there's a little bit of a glare out here, so I'll try and help you out as best as I can, but here are the numbers: 19 city, 24 highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas for every 100 miles driven. And what about your gas tank size? It's going to be 19.4 gallons. When it comes to practical use, the Enclave can tow what I think is a surprising 5,000 pounds. And there are a few different ways you can open the power tailgate, including what you saw on the remote earlier and the button on the tailgate right there itself. Cargo space comes in at 22.9 up to 97.5 cubic feet. When it comes to maximizing that cargo space, here's what you do. These are the buttons for the middle row seats. Now I'm just going to push both of those buttons and the seats will fold down. I'll have to go up there and fix that other seat because the passenger seat is too far back. Now those automatically just lower down. With the rear seats, we're going to hold these buttons down right here and let those seats go down. Now if you let go of the buttons, the seats will stop moving, so you have to hold those buttons down. It's something I would like to see GM change, where you just push the buttons one time and they automatically lower or come back up without having to hold the button the whole time. And there is how everything looks when you maximize your cargo space. And you're going to have a little bit more space here underneath the floor, so if you need that area, there that is. That makes things nice and simple. And we also have a 12-volt power outlet and a couple of tie downs located on each side. And one important thing I wanted to show you, I removed the bolts right here that were fastened here because underneath the floor it is a little bit hard to get out. In fact, you can see right here how you do that. There are the instructions, but I wanted to show it to you so you could see for yourself there is a spare tire that comes with this Enclave. The exterior color on this Enclave is Summit White. It has a sandstone with leatherette interior. A lot of space with the armrest. I always like a nice flat armrest. The front portion isn't angled up. That's always nice to have. A reasonable amount of space with the door bin right here. And to help out with increasing leg space for rear seat passengers, what I've done is I moved the seat on the left over there all the way back. The seat over here on the right hand side is all the way forward. I don't know how practical that is because there's not a ridiculous amount of space right here, but I guess it just depends on who is sitting there. To gain access to the third row, all you have to do is push and hold that button down. Now the seat doesn't really get up and out of the way as well as I wish it would. You have to give it a little bit of help. And at 5'10", let me make sure I'm sitting all the way up. Sitting back here in the third row, if the seat's all the way back, that's not going to work. Now it is reclined a little bit, so that makes a difference as well. But over here on the right-hand side of the passenger side, there's a lot more room. So that's nice to have. The pass-through right there, you can stretch your leg out a little bit if you need to. And this is a 7-seater, so we have 2 in the front, 2 here in the middle, and 3 in the rear. For those who might think that that's not true, 1, 2, 3 seat belts. That means it is a true 7-seater. And let's take a look at what else your rear seat passengers will find. A cup holder and a little bit of space behind that, and a USB option. Both sides will have the same things, and I like the location of the air conditioning vents back here, roof mounted as they are. It beats having them down in this area, as some SUVs do in the third row. It just seems like that's too far for the air to travel, at least in my personal opinion. And in the event that the middle row passengers forget about the third row passengers and they don't want to get out through the pass-through right here, all they have to do is push that button. Well, let's hold that button down. There we go. And we can get the seat up and out of the way. And by the way, there is a panoramic sunroof here. It has a power shade that can be drawn back and forth depending on what you want. And that front portion does open. And a couple of cup holders on the rear of the center console. Here is the command center of sorts that allows rear seat passengers to control the third zone of climate control. And we also have a couple of USB options down here and a power outlet. So a couple of different options for connectivity. Rear seat pockets for storage and a nice view out of the panoramic sunroof. The one thing that I do wish was a little different is the armrests. I wish they were a little bit longer. It just seems like it'd be nice if your wrist wasn't hanging off like this. Now, maybe for some people that wouldn't be an issue. It is for me, and maybe it's not as bad as I think. But in my opinion, I'd like to see maybe the armrest go up as high as the seat back does right here. That would definitely help. And how about the sticker price? $52,285. Let's see what else you get for the price. Power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger both have lumbar support, and you can raise and lower the height of the seats on both sides. We'll take a quick look right here at the interior of the glove box. Nothing unusual there, but for those who want to see that. But obviously a new look all the way across the dashboard here with the trim, with the screens, the steering wheel. Everything is changed. We're going to find seat memory here on the driver's side. That's always nice to have, and all the controls for your side view mirrors and your windows and all that good stuff. If you want to go through your driving modes, here's how you do that. There's your power parking brake. In fact, we'll go ahead and go through those driving modes right now and show you what's on the screen. So we have tow haul mode. You have Tour, Sport, to show you the graphics that go with that. Snow and ice, that's very nice to have. Off-road, in your tow haul mode. Good thing. The dash area is very nice. I like the way this looks, the way that there's no break in the screen. It's all one continuous screen, so that's nice to have. Not something that you might think of when you think of Buick, and we're going to get back to the screen in just a second here. You do have a head-up display as well. Now, that's available on all trim levels. Nice to have that. Here's your steering wheel and how that looks. Very easy to figure out. Cruise control on this side, all your controls on this side. You have a heated steering wheel. You can adjust the radio. All that good stuff is there. And your shifter paddles are here. You also find over here the control for your front and rear window wipers. You can also use it like that. And I know a lot of you are probably confused and wondered if I just broke the vehicle. No, I didn't. That's how you activate your turn signal indicators. Imagine that. A lot of you didn't even know you could do that. You might say, how do you know that, Tom? Because I've driven around you. That's how I know. It's okay to laugh. Don't worry. Even if you're laughing at yourself, just remember I'm laughing with you and not at you. Well, maybe not. Anyway, in all seriousness, let's get back to it. Here's your shifter. If you made it to this point in the video, you might as well laugh. So you pull back on the shifter, and then you automatically go into neutral. Keep that pulled back to go into reverse, down to go into drive, and then we push the button right there to go into park. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this infotainment screen because it is chock full of information. Now, if you want a full tour of the technology of the Enclave for 2025, I have a video on my channel where I cover all of that. You have Google Assistant here, right there, where you can say, hey, yeah, I just scared some of you, didn't I? You thought I was going to set off devices in your house. That has happened before, so I don't do that anymore. But that is here. Google Assistant, you can wirelessly pair your smartphone. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Those are what are grayed out right there because nothing is paired. It's all done wirelessly. Trailering right here if you want to use that. If you need to do anything with that, there you go. There's quite a bit going on here. I'm not going to go into great detail here for obvious reasons because I do it on another video, but we have so much to talk about that I do want to cover a couple of high points here that I think are very important. How about your camera views? You have your standard view, you have your overhead view, you also have your side view, and you have that overhead 360-degree view right there that really makes a difference. I think that's nice to have. It just helps out so much. Obviously, your Google Play Store there, Alexa's here. The big thing that I want to check out, number one, we do have some ambient lighting here as well, and there are several different color combinations that you can go through. As you can see, I'm just selecting through right now. I know you can't really see anything right now because it's just too dark, or excuse me, too light. Wow, that was a bad moment, wasn't it? But we're going to leave that in and not edit it out. But there is what you have with your ambient lighting. So we're going to go back here and we'll go back into settings and take a look at what we have here. There's quite a bit going on here as well, but the main thing, again, I want to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's going to be vehicle. A lot going on. Audio settings, if you want to tune your radio to sound as good as possible, you can do that, and that's not a big deal, easy to deal with. I probably don't need to show you too much about that. Teen driver mode is there if you want to use that. You can use buckle to drive and rear seat reminder, and then climate and air quality, all of that. How about your safety features as far as the driving aids go? Well, you do have your alert type right there on the top. Automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking, adaptive cruise go notifier, and side bicyclist alert. Lane change alert is there as well. So a lot going on here. Comfort and convenience, lighting. I'll tell you what, you can see everything you need to here. Now you see that little icon I just touched right there? That's going to let you come in here and turn some things on and off and deal with a few different things as far as traction control, just so you can see what's here. If you just use what I like to call the hunt and peck method, you are going to have absolutely no problem figuring this system out. It's not complicated. I do like the fact that Buick has one of the simplest infotainment systems and really simple technology to learn and use. Even though it looks different, it's still very simple. I like the curvature here that hopefully shows up well on the screen that allows that to be angled towards the driver. That's a good thing. Dual zone climate control is going to be here, and here's something that I think a lot of you are going to like: the wireless phone charger. You're going to have that. That is a standard feature, always nice to have. So depending on what you're wanting to do, well, you can deal with that. There's your audio control, so you can use that as you need to. Now the gloss black here, well, just try not to touch it with your fingers too much because it might fingerprint up. It has a nice shiny look to it. Some people call that a piano black finish. I like that. It looks good. It looks elegant. I just wish somebody could come up with a way to make it where it doesn't fingerprint up the way it often does. And cup holders, a nice large center console. That's a good thing. Doubles as a lid, or lid for the center console doubles as an armrest. And then this is not all the space there is. That tray is removable. and you can see what's down inside of that area. Quite a bit going on as far as this model goes. Let's get out on the road and see what it's like to drive. As we get out on the road for the test drive, one other feature I do want to talk about real quick that I didn't mention earlier is you have the safety alert seat. If you're not familiar with what that is, it means if you start to get over the center line, or when you back up or something's in front of you or behind you or whatever, that's one of those warnings that you're going to receive via the vibrations in the appropriate area of the seat to let you know what is going on. Now, one thing that's nice here, a nice tight turning radius. You can't beat that. That's always a good thing. Makes it easy to get around no matter the situation. So good for big city driving. Pretty nimble, that's for sure. Having all-wheel drive also helps for those of you who live in an area where you deal with a lot of snow and ice. Probably more often in the year than not compared to what we have down here. Thankfully, that's only every few years. And with that snow and ice mode, it makes it even better. Acceleration is good. You can get down the road with no problems. At least that's been my experience, but that's why you always need to get out and test drive for yourself. I can give you my feedback, but depending on your experience and what your expectations are, well, you might get in the driver's seat and say, that's more than enough, it's not enough, you downplayed it, whatever the situation is. Very comfortable. That's always a good thing. Always very important, especially for something like this. Now, I can only tell you what it's like in the front seat, so I don't know about the middle and the third row, but I would imagine that you're still going to be just fine there. Soaks up the bumps quite nicely. Very enjoyable to drive. Your acceleration is there when you need it. It just depends, again, on what you're used to and what your expectations are. But an Enclave with a lot of power like this, it's a reasonable amount of power for a vehicle like this. At least in my opinion, I think it works well. I like the nice bright head-up display. That looks nice. Kind of hard to show on camera, but I did mention that it is there earlier in the video, and everything is very easy to get to. I also like the fact that I don't feel cramped by any means with the space that's here in the driver's seat. So there's a lot of room to grow. I can tell that somebody who is well in excess of 6 feet tall could hop in here, adjust the seat and the steering wheel, which by the way is manually adjustable, tilt and telescopically adjustable. So that is there too, in case you were curious about that. There's a lot of adjustability here for the driver's seat and the passenger seat too. But if you're over 6 feet tall, you still have a lot of space left beyond what I have. I'm 5'10", so I can tell there's plenty of room for somebody who's taller than I am. Overall, a very well-rounded vehicle for what it is. These seats do recline. Obviously, the second row seats recline. We talked about that earlier, just dealing with some of the common questions that I tend to receive about these videos. And depending on what you might want, well, you can go to a higher trim level. But the thing I like about these Buick vehicles is that you can have a lot of the top trim features and functionality on a preferred trim level, for example, such as what I've shown you here today, and you can still pay less than you would if, say, you went Avenir. And there it is, the 2025 Buick Enclave Preferred. Is it the luxury midsize SUV surprise of 2025? Tell me what you think down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana for loaning me this Enclave for the day so I can tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to share this video so others can see it. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, please be sure to do so. That way you don't miss any future videos. If you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.